got it in the back.
All right, we're now entering Schmidt.
I'll get it out. We'll write things down. Look at that down there, Dip. Look.
Oh wow, that's gorgeous.
Good Bach.
All right, Dad, I think we should go try and find the bridge one more time. Birding, deer's birding. Look at this.
Yep.
This is nice. They have a pasture right next to their hotel, and it has cows or donkeys or something.
That cop was doing Policia.
Yeah. No room in the inn. Kerms and Hans.
Seine Partei nicht gewinnt und die AfD auf Platz 1 landet. Die Vereinten Nationen warnen vor einer weiteren Eskalation im Nahen Osten. Wie Sonderkoordinatorin der UN für den Libanon erklärte, die Schwelle werde in Kürze überschritten.
Durchweg unter 20 Grad.
Es wäre einerseits aktuell.
Right here?
Where that black car is, maybe? I can't tell. Yeah. Man, I wish I could tell Frau Dorsch about this, but I don't think she's still alive.
Spannend, wer da am Ende die Nase vorn hat, AfD oder SPD unter die Wahl.
Our stay is like up here somewhere.
It's a beautiful wooded area.
Yeah, and the architecture is gorgeous through here.
Is there any place to eat a Wiener Schnitzel or a...
That sounds Russian.
What?
It sounds Russian.
If you picture admission, you think you can go to the bathroom?
Field Marshal Model was in Cologne with all his generals and doing like plannings and stuff, and they got the news of that attack. So they pulled out from the front line near Aachen the 116th German Tank Division, the so-called Greyhound Division, a well-trained, good German tank division, and they brought them over in the Hürtgen forest to counterattack the 112th Regiment of the 28th Division that went over to Kommerscheidt and Schmidt. So they took, the Americans took with Lasseford the Kommerscheidt and Schmidt on November the 3rd, and on November the 4th the Germans counterattacked with tanks. The problem, the Americans had no anti-tank guns, no tanks over there on that time, and so the Germans took Schmidt back. On the 5th they tried to get Kommerscheidt, but they were stopped by American artillery, and on the 6th they attacked Kommerscheidt. Took Kommerscheidt back. The Americans, the last surviving Americans, retreated on a small, in a small wooden area. I'm going to show you later, and I'm going to sign you all the, or mark you all the points in a map, so you can go there. They retreated, and on the night of November the 7th to the 8th, they got the order to retreat in small groups through enemy lines, because they were cut off, because the Germans did an attack down in the Kull Valley up to the parking spot where you want to go later, and so they were cut off. Yeah, and we got a good interview of Lieutenant Fleig, the tank commander of the first tank that tried to get, so the company leader of Able Company, yeah, so of your uncle's company, and he said we retreated with like about 70 men in one line in the middle of the night. I think it was a captain or something, in just walking first, and he fell down a cliff, and then they panicked, and all the 70 men spread and tried to get back somewhere to Vosseneck. The Germans down in the valley overtook also the American aid station that was down in the valley, but they didn't bother them, or they just allowed them to treat their wounded. They helped them with medical stuff, and so we have very good reports of that from the after-action reports of the one of the medics of the 112th Regiment. So that's very good reports, and we would say probably about on November the 3rd, about 2,200, something like that, American soldiers went over, and on the morning of the 8th, just about 350 came back on their own feet. Yeah, so it was like hell. Yeah, and even the artillery and stuff, it was like, So we have a lot of eyewitness reports of that action, and it was like terrible, total wrong planning.
Wrong planning, and I can't remember which, was it a colonel or somebody, I can't remember. I don't think it was a general, maybe it was, but I think that one of the U.S. military leaders basically had a nervous breakdown, just went to pieces. And it's the way a lot of that battle went. People getting lost and trying to get back because.
So it was just not only the attack. So on the morning of the second of November the 2nd, they started. So we are right here. Yeah? The attack started right here. That was the jump-off point for the 28th Division. The 110th Regiment, the 109th Regiment attacked to the town of Hürtgen, but were stopped here in a huge minefield and good German machine gun positions and stuff. And the 110th Regiment attacked in that direction to take that crossroads and the town of Simonskal. And the 112th Regiment went in to take Vosseneck and then go on the Karl Trail to take Kommerscheidt and Schmidt. So that was the plan. Yeah? And all three of them had extremely high losses during the battle. So the whole division has for about 20,000 men, and they lost during these few days from November the 3rd to, so they were relieved end of November, but the action was just at the beginning. They lost for about 6,500 men. Yeah. And the bad thing is that the guys from the 28th Division, when they were relieved by the 8th and the 4th Division, they were brought in the advance end of November for recovering, and because it was a very calm front line at that point. And just 2 weeks after they were there, the Battle of the Bulge started in the advance, and so the 28th Division was nearly destroyed completely.
That's my understanding also, I think. Is that what I understood? That maybe Gdansk, or what is the capital over this way that you were talking about earlier?
So you can, what?
No, the
Aachen?
No.
Düren?
Where the general was, the Germans were?
Cologne.
Cologne.
Yeah.
I didn't know if that was it, but I read somewhere like they didn't know, or if this was almost like a staging area for the tanks and the military when they went north into the bulge. The Ardennes? The Ardennes.
Yeah, it's the same. Like Battle of the Bulge happened in the Belgian Ardennes. Yeah.
There's stuff that I am told, I've read something that in the U.S. military, the officers training college at Fort Leavenworth, that sometimes they try to explain some things like battles and strategy and planning. If it's like, this is a place that say, this was ill-planned.
Don't do this.
And they said, hey, reconsider this, pull back and find a different way.
Yeah, we have a lot of American military coming to the Hürtgen forest and just studying the battle of, so the All Souls battle we call it, or the battle for Schmidt, and they are, because it was like the whole battle, not only the battle for Schmidt, the whole battle of the 28th Division was like many bad decisions, like
not well thought out.
On that side, we are actually over here. Yeah, G Company attacked over here with 7 tanks. Yeah.
Where was that Hürtgen that they ran into? Was
Hürtgen is over here.
Okay.
So this is 112th Regiment. They attacked in the town of Fosseneck.
Okay.
The 109th was over here, going to Hürtgen, and the 110th was more down here, attacking at a place called Ochsenkopf, Peterborough. So, and here we are, but they don't talk about tanks in this. So, you see, this is Kommerscheidt, this is the Kull Trail, this is Norse, this is Norse. So, they are talking about a ridge that your uncle were going on, and on the eastern part of the town, so over here, and he get the radio call to retreat in, what was it?
Which way would they have retreated? Back down the call?
Yeah, I'm gonna show you. Let me see. Radio led to withdraw and himself pulled back into a shallow open door northwest of Kommerscheidt. So northwest is over here.
Yes.
So he was somewhere over here, where he shot the first German tank. Then he was shot himself by German artillery tanks, and he got the radio call to retreat over here, because this wood is still there. That's the last position. All the soldiers retreated in that small woods, and then they retreated down the hill and back in small groups on the night of the 7th day. Interesting thing, it's a friend of mine, a good friend of mine, he did metal detecting for 40 years in the Hürtgen forest. He found right here, like parts of, how do you call it? When you are in the tank, you look through it to watch it.
Like a periscope?
He found the periscope of a Sherman tank right here, and that's probably from Lieutenant Flagg's last tank. He was the last tank, and he retreated right back here. He was the first tank in Kommerscheidt and the last tank. And he blew his tank up before he retreated. So probably that's from his tank.
Wow.
And just for you, we got this 3D model from the US Army Geospatial Center. So we got it from the US Army, and you see, this is the jump-off point of the 112th, 109th, 110th. They went into Fosseneck, and went down the Kull Trail up to Kommerscheidt and Schmidt. And you see how deep that valley is. And the Kull Trail on, before the beginning of that attack, it was like a small path more, not just like 2 meters on the smallest part of the trail.
Is it like this one here?
This is the original picture of the Kull Trail after the battle.
Okay.
So you see how narrow that small path is.
And here's a tank trail or something. Lost.
So, and this is Flag.
Yes.
Able Company 707 Tank Battalion. So he was the first soldier that brought over one tank, and just a couple of minutes ago he left. An old colleague of mine, he's working on, so he said he met him a couple of times. So he was like a small guy, like my colleague too, and so we see over here. Here you can see. It's not your dad's tank is talking here. So they are talking about all the tanks
along the trail
were
disabled. Yes, there were a number of them. Yes.
So Flag was the first one who went down the trail with his tank. He went on a mine because he tried to pass a weasel that was wrecked there.
Yes,
or,
it's a vehicle.
and he tried to pass it, but he went on a mine. So his tank was knocked out. Then the second tank, the driver of the second tank, he was like an engineer or something. So they just took steel cables and
I think they
how do you call
they
it?
winched
Like-
it. didn't
They winched it on
Back
on
on.
Flagg's tank and went through the steep part of the around Flagg's tank and went on. So and there were just a couple of tanks that came up to Kommerscheidt on the evening of November the 3rd. So when all the towns were Kommerscheidt and Schmidt were taken by the Americans, and then they couldn't move on because tanks' flight was still on the Kal trail. So the trail was totally blocked. The next group of tanks came over and just saw, okay, the other tanks just crossed it, tried it, but didn't
Winch it.
winched it to the other tank, and the first tank just rolled down into the valley.
Wow.
Yeah, and it took till the morning of the 5th. All this happened on the 3rd. Yeah, it took till the morning of the 5th that they got the order to blow up Flagg's tank and open up the trail again, and that is probably when your uncle went in.
So
Yeah.
there was no way for them to cross.
No,
here.
no
Everybody,
chance.
all these tanks went through
Yeah.
the trail to
Yeah.
Kommerscheidt.
And the problem was, so when they got the small and steep part of the trail, crossed the river, the Kal River, yeah,
Yes.
they have to move up all these slopes. And on that time, the Sherman tank was not able to get one track forward and one backward, so to move. So they have to get forward, backward, yeah, to drive around the slope. And Flags had down on the bridge, he went out and just showed his driver where to go. And they were like, yeah, it was all the time they were shelled and with artillery and stuff. Yeah, there was one tank crew. Their tank threw the track because it went on a mine. All the 5 guys went down to fix it, and they were directly killed by artillery fire. Yeah? So it was, yeah.
Ooh.
It doesn't, I can't see it on mine. Yours is probably better. Cool.
Yeah.
We would have walked through the mill first.
Well, the parking lot, they said would have been over there.
And this mill, like, you have to access it from.
From that other road.
Yeah.
There's nowhere else to go because I think what you're looking at, Betty.
Yeah.
Getting this back out of this room.
Brent, we're looking at a place here, and I think now you ask him, stop and ask him if he knows where it is. Go. You might ask him, stop and ask him if he knows where it is. Is there a sign right up along here maybe? What's up here?
farmer guy. Somebody's resident. He's probably wondering what the heck we're doing out here. It's like, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I saw a sign that only like 20% of this area has been checked. Like it's still like there's still like 80%. All right, here's another bench.
Right here. Does it show anything along here or anything off the grass?
And I don't see anything on the ground. Maybe they moved. Maybe they were in a different pasture.
I guess maybe they were just hidden most of the way.
I do remember the cows.
Yeah. I think the sheep were just hidden from our view.
Cows are looking at us like, how are you doing? Oh, look at that guy with his bulls. Oh, and he's wearing a collar. Well, they're all wearing collars.
Ministerpräsident Schweizer gratuliert Brandenburgs Regierungschef Hürtgen. Die Preise für Butter steigen weiter. Das Wetter in Rheinland-Pfalz eher wolkig und regnerisch bei maximal 16 bis 21 Grad. Der rheinland-pfälzische Ministerpräsident Schweizer hat seinem SPD-Parteikollegen und Regierungschef von Brandenburg Hürtgen zum Wahlsieg gratuliert. Hürtgen habe eine tolle Aufholjagd hingelegt als Spitzenkandidat überzeugt.
I'll get over it in a while, but I'll still feel bad.
Oh, just how he was kind of been out of shape with us being up there and driving on.